Now available in paperback and coming to Kindle Unlimited. John Haynes, Dark Succubus. The man who rules the world is tempted by a sultry succubus in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Dark Succubus in paperback or pre-order on Kindle Unlimited today. A brother sent me an email asking for some advice. And before I give him that advice in this video, I'm going to take a minute to read his email. And he says, "Good morning, Mr. James. How are you doing? I want to express my gratitude for your commentary on current events regarding the United States, comic books, social media, etc., especially on the nature of beta males and how actions from the feminist movement and other historical events have caused this man crisis. Coming from a single mother household, I had no idea I have exhibited some of these traits when I was younger. Case in point, my attempt to live in a smooth world where everything will always be handed to me. However, I was wrong. In order to succeed in life, one must do the work and make the necessary sacrifices in order to achieve things that are of greater value. For that, I thank you. If you can, in the near future, can you do a video on how to address the chaos that is going on in a man's life, especially when they haven't received support while growing up, and even now as they realize the rage going on inside of them and have been fighting to do good by God's terms. Thank you for taking the time to read this email. I look forward to your commentary on YouTube and other platforms." I'm going to give my advice to the brother, and I have to say, starting out, you have to understand that God is in control, and you have to surrender to God if you hope to deal with the chaos in your life. Because when you are surrendering to God, you understand that with Him in control, everything will work towards His righteousness and glory. And once you surrender to His leadership and authority under God's natural order, what's going to happen is you are going to go out of chaos into order, because what God is going to do is set a path for your steps. And what's going to happen is, as you take those steps on that path, you are going to get focused on a direction, and you're going to start setting a course for where you want to go in life. So the first thing you have to understand to address that chaos is that God has to be in control. You have to surrender control to God in your life, and then after He used to do that, that's when God will start doing work towards setting that course for your life, that direction for your life. And as He starts setting that course and direction for you, what He's going to do is He's going to move many of these chaotic and toxic people out of your life and start putting you in the path of positive people who will help you do His work on earth. So that's what's going to happen when you let God deal with the chaos in your life, is He's going to make those moves that are going to be outside, and you may not even see them being done, but there will be things done that will benefit you in the long term, because sometimes the things God does that we don't see as beneficial now actually are beneficial later, and He slowly will start moving these chaotic people out of your life. Now, when it comes down to the issue of getting support from men and other people in your life growing up, that's something that you're just going to have to get used to, because it was something I had to deal with growing up myself. Now, when I was in high school and I was struggling with my grades and things and having to deal with all these dysfunctional guys out here, I didn't get much support in school, and I had to learn how to trust in God to help me, and He did when I prayed to Him to change my life. Now, I was in this Park West High School, and my grade advisor had written me off and thought I would not get my high school diploma, but I believed in God and I believed in myself, and God made a way for me to get my diploma. It wasn't the way I wanted things to go, but I wound up changing schools. And once I got into Taft High School, which was considered one of the worst schools in New York City at the time, I started focusing on what I wanted to do, and I focused on setting a goal for myself of getting my high school diploma. And even though it took an extra year for me to do that, I managed to go out here and get my high school diploma. And I did that not looking for the support of others, but by trusting in God. And that's what you have to do, is you have to trust in God to be able to help you do the things you want to do and accomplish the things you want to accomplish. And as you're trying to do those things, God will make a way for you to do things. And you can't think about trying to get support from other people, because if you don't believe in what you're doing, then nobody else is going to believe in you. And I've run into that myself all throughout my life, of people not having any faith in me, not believing that I could do things, and not even thinking that I could do basic things like trying to basically do any job out here. But I still managed to believe in myself and believe in what I could be capable of, and believed what I could be capable of doing it. Because I focused on what I wanted to do, I was able to go out here and accomplish things like writing over 60 books and trying to go out here and build things like the SJS Direct imprint. And I did all of those things even in the face of having no support, and even having resistance from family members who didn't believe in the stories I was writing or even believe in the efforts I was taking. And I even had to deal with attacks from people like your feminists, your hoteps, and your pro-blacks, many who thought that the book covers I was doing that were hand-drawn, thought of them as bad looking and wanted to try to attack me on them. But they couldn't see the big picture, and I couldn't let them take me out of the big picture of what I wanted to do and accomplish, because I understood that, yes, I was drawing covers yesterday, about 5-10 years ago, and I saw a road where I would eventually get to the point where I could go out here and hire professionals to do my covers. I had to sit down and say, look, this is going to be a start for me. It is not the finish. And yes, when you start, everything is going to be rough because you don't know what you're doing in the beginning. But because you believe in what you're doing, and you believe in what you're trying to accomplish and what you're setting out to accomplish, yeah, it'll be rough, today, but later on, you're going to get better at what you do. You're going to get more polished at what you do, more refined at what you do. And it's about developing yourself and continuing to persevere in the face of adversity. And even if you don't get support from your family, your friend, people in your neighborhood, there are things you can do out here, and you have to focus on those most of all, because when you put yourself first, you're focusing on improving yourself, you're focusing on building yourself up, you're focusing on improving yourself, and you're focusing on improving the goals that you have. And oftentimes you're going to, again, run into people who aren't going to give you any support, and that's just something you have to learn to deal with, and learn that the only person who's going to be there to take care of you is you. The only person who's going to help you deal with your chaos in your life is you. And the only way you're going to get to order is by trusting God to work things out that you can't work out, because, again, He will move the toxic people out of your life if you step out of His way, and then He will put positive people in your life who will help you work towards your goals. And you just have to continue to believe in yourself, even though you don't have that support today. Eventually, you will get to that support, and God will send the right people to you so that you can go out here and continue fighting and doing right on God's terms. Now, when it comes down to the whole situation as related to the rage that a lot of guys have from single mother households, you have to learn how to navigate through your emotions. And navigating through your emotions is, yes, you acknowledge that you have this anger that you have, but you do not act on that anger. And navigating through your emotions means, yes, you are angry about the fact that in some cases this single mother has told you a lot of lies about that world out there, but you understand that you don't act on that anger towards others or even her, because she herself has been miseducated, and she's miseducated because she never really had to go out in that real world out there, because she was protected primarily by the men, our government system, which artificially supports women through the welfare state, and all her ideas come from the sheltering she has received. And because she has been sheltered, She has seen the world through rose-colored glasses. And she taught you to see the world through rose-colored glasses because that was her life experience, and because you didn't have a father to balance and show you the picture of the real world. You have to understand that that was the miseducation you received, but now you have an opportunity to correct that education, and you have an opportunity to educate and empower yourself. And when you educate and empower yourself, that's how you wind up dealing with this rage that I talk about in the man crisis as related to beta male rage. And the way you do that is by sitting down and finding groups like men's groups online, and you find male people who, like your Dr. Robert Glover, who wrote the book No More Mr. Nice Guy. Groups like that, those groups will help you. There are a lot of groups on social media as related to men out here, and then there are videos like I produce, your Sandman, your Turd Flinging Monkey, and many others, which will give you the advice that you need. Also, Black Male Advice TV, aka Ringo, he gives good advice. And all of these videos that you watch about manhood and masculinity, they will give you the knowledge that you need so that you can finally learn the male life skills, the male survival skills, and get an understanding of how to set a course for yourself in this world and set a direction for yourself in this world. Because with God being the head of you, and you can start he'll start moving things out of your way so you can set that direction. And then when you start working with other men, you can start learning about how the skills you need to become a man. Because when it comes down to a lot of guys from single mother households, what they don't understand is it takes a man to teach a boy the male life skills, and it takes another man to teach other men, because men want to sharpen and develop other men so that they can be at their best. Because when one man is at his best, he wants another man to be at his best. So a man is going to teach you because, again, he has to go out in that world to survive. He has to go out into that world in order to make a living. And he understands that in most cases, he has to do things on his own. And the only people out here to help him survive is himself and God. So he understands how the world is for another man, and he understands how to help another man learn how to survive in that world. So oftentimes when you have this rage, what happens is you can squash that rage by learning, because a lot of times that rage comes from a lack of information. And when you get taught what you need to do, that anger starts to dissipate because you learn what you need to go out there. Now, it's a very painful process, but as you're learning, you get a better understanding of being a man, and it's that understanding that helps you grow as a man. So those are things that help you deal with that rage going on inside of you. That's the thing that helps you deal with that chaos, is educating yourself and learning to get those skills from other men, and then also surrendering to God. Most of all, that's the first thing that's going to do, is he will start taking the chaos out of you. And then as you're out there, you're going to get that education from other men, and they're going to help you out here in understanding how the world works. And again, that's going to help you deal with the chaos. That's going to help you deal with the anger. That's what's going to help you start building some structure. And that's what's going to help you start setting a path for yourself and taking those steps towards finally finding your purpose in this world, finding what God wants you to do in this world, and finding a way to move your life forward. I'm hoping that this advice will be able to help you, and I'm hoping that this advice will help you move forward. And if you want to learn more about how to deal with that chaos in your life like this brother, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle formats. And you can also find it on Smashwords, Barnes & Noble, and the iBookstore. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, ISIS, All That Glitters. The goddess next door takes on a bikini-clad bank robber in this action-packed, all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, All That Glitters, paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.